This is where winter forms. We're going to look at the temperatures across Alaska over the next week or so. We're also going to talk about the below normal temperatures we're seeing in parts of the country and what's ahead. There could be some snow for some of you. We're going to break that down just a little bit, and I'll tell you when we can expect this cold air to move south. Let's take a quick analysis across Alaska right now. It's pretty cold over here into Siberia, but as we look at this, I want you to keep in mind, we are not frozen yet here, right? We've got open ocean water here. Look how chilly this air is over here, below zero, over into Siberia. Notice how that cold air is not able to make it across the ocean. Now, right now, we're actually dealing with a bit of an easterly flow coming off of Alaska into the Arctic Ocean. That is helping to freeze things up, but these temperatures are cold, right? I mean, look, we're talking about temperatures in the 20s, not getting out of the 20s for daytime highs, in the teens, a little bit above average, maybe 10 degrees or so. Across southern Alaska, though, we've had a lot of wind and rain and snow, so temperatures below average. But until you can build this ice bridge up, which we eventually will, until you freeze this up, the cold air that forms over into Alaska, further to the north in Siberia, is going to have a hard time freezing. But I want to show you what's happening across Alaska as these days are getting much shorter. If anything, we're almost done with daylight, and look how cold the models are picking up on things, below zero at times. So some colder weather ahead, I think, here for the Great North. A quick comparison, though. This was October 31st last year, the ice north of Alaska. We had quite a bit of open water, and here's where we are right now. Pretty close to about the same here to the northwest of Alaska, but a little more ice right here along the north coast. Last year, this year, again, last year, this year. It's like the eye doctor, right? You may also be looking at the snow cover across North America. Compare this to last year. There's a little bit of splotchiness to it here across Alaska, also here into parts of northern Canada, northern Alberta, Saskatchewan. Not as much snow as we had last year in these areas. I don't know that it's going to put a nail in the coffin of winter. I think the upper level pattern is going to drive that. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. It's one of the reasons we're below average. Look at these temperatures. A good 10 to 15 degrees below average, especially in the green here across Missouri, Oklahoma, north, further to the north into Missouri, also into Iowa. Further east, we're going to see another cool day as we move through the Saturday with cool temperatures underneath this upper low, a good 10 to 15 degrees below average, but where we can break out into the sun. In fact, numbers this week are going to go above average, especially the further west you go. By the end of the week, we could be 10 to 20 degrees above average. Here's where we are today. We'll walk you through the next 7 days or so, maybe beyond that. We've got this upper low that will be continuing to push off to the east and south with showers and cool conditions. Another system moving into the Pacific Northwest. We've got rain and snow here into British Columbia, and then that spreads east as we head through the week. Another system driving east through Ontario as we head through Sunday into Monday. That's going to bring some rain showers, some cooler conditions here across northern Minnesota, northern Michigan. Temperatures on the way down behind this front, and then showers along the southeast coast, and then we dry out. High pressure settles in over the south. Another system swinging into the west. This one's not going to be nearly as strong as what we're going to see heading into Wednesday and Thursday. That's going to bring snow levels down into the Sierra, and it could be quite windy and rainy for a couple of days out west. Now we're watching this next system that's moving through the Great Lakes. That's going to bring a few more rain showers. A cold push of air tries to come in on the heels of this as high pressure builds in, bringing some chillier air down from Canada down into the northeastern United States. Some of this rain could mix with snow. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here into northern parts of New York, into the northeast. And now we're getting busy across the west with this next storm slamming in by Thursday and Friday. Rain, wind, and snow, and that all moves east. And then the question is what happens once it gets east of the mountains? By the time you get into Saturday, this is the European. I'll tell you, it's a much warmer solution than the GFS. It doesn't have nearly as much snow in this region. Here is the GFS, which in my opinion has had a cold bias. I don't believe it just yet. It's got a snowstorm moving through the Great Lakes on the early Saturday morning run. This would be the overnight run, Friday night, backing that up, bringing a pretty decent swath of snow across Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe a little too warm by the time it gets into Michigan, but that would put some heavy snow into southern Ontario and really pound the northeast heading into next weekend. A long way to go before we get there, so let's just wait and see how all this plays out. More snow, wind, and rain slamming into British Columbia, also into Washington, some snow into the highest elevations of the Cascades. This is where winter is right now, into the highest elevations. Here's the most significant storm, I think, for the west as we head into Tuesday. The wind starts to pick up. This is a pretty decent storm off the west coast. Heavy wind and rain start to slam into the northern parts of California, Oregon, Washington, and then snow levels start to drop as this trough swings through. So we'll see some high elevation snow here into the Sierra, pretty high snow levels with the decent southerly flow moving in with this storm, and then more snow here into the northern Rockies as we head into Friday, also into Saturday of next weekend. Warm east of the mountains today from Calgary all the way down into the Front Range of Colorado. Temperatures climbing back up into the 60s. Some places getting pretty close to 70. We squelched that as a cold front drops to the south. Temperatures dropping back into the 40s and 50s. And we stay cold here across the mountains of the west through Monday, at least into parts of the northwest. However, across the southwest, above average temperatures. In fact, as we head through November, I think temperatures overall are going to be above average in this part of the country. If there's a better chance of seeing it, it's here. Also, I think across the central U.S., a good chance of seeing warmer weather here overall. Some cool weather with this upper low swinging through today into Sunday, bringing showers into the south. Further to the north, our next system bringing some rain through the Great Lakes. Otherwise, relatively dry, relatively quiet. We start to develop some warmer temperatures too this week ahead of the next system, which will move through sometime Wednesday and Thursday. But what you're not seeing is a real cold push down here all the way into the southern plains, into the central U.S. It's going to take a while. No big changes on the way here, at least temperature-wise. Relatively cool on Saturday underneath the clouds. This is going to, again, spin into parts of the southeast. Temperatures as we head into Sunday, warming up in places where it was a little bit cool, especially here into eastern Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. We're back up into the 50s. 40 still hanging on a little bit further to the south and east. But by Monday, temperatures all across Missouri, Illinois, down to Arkansas, much warmer, back up into the 60s. Further to the east, here's that bowling ball of cold air moving through Kentucky and Tennessee as we head through the weekend. It's going to bring a lot of moisture in off of the Atlantic, too, here into parts of the Carolinas, into Virginia, so some heavy rain possible. And then there comes the next system through the northeast. Some rain, maybe mixing with a little bit of snow here into parts of Ontario. And then high pressure settles in. We dry out by the time we get into Tuesday for a lot of the East Coast, with the exception of what's happening here across northern Michigan into southern Ontario. Our next system brings in another shot of cooler air, cold front dropping to the south just like this, headed this way. So numbers on the way back, winds spin out of the northwest, and some rain mixes with snow. The GFS is much colder. I'm leaning towards the European. I'm showing you that because I do think it's going to be a little bit warmer. We've seen that bias lately. And there's your big Great Lakes runner. Even if it doesn't bring snow, the potential's on the table for some strong winds and some rain. Watch the northern side of this, though, for a quick flip to snow in the forecast in the upcoming days. I'll be tracking it. Here's a look at your temperatures as we head into Saturday. Warm further to the east. Enjoy it, especially across Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi, because today will be the last day before you get this cool pocket of air in and the rain showers pick up, especially into Tennessee and then further to the east. And there's a look at your temperatures heading into Monday. And if you really back things out across North America, look where it's unsettled. Across the northwest here into Alaska, we're seeing rain, especially along the coast. Too cold for rain in the interior areas. If anything, not a lot of moisture, so we're not seeing a lot of snow into interior parts of Alaska. We've got plenty of rain along the coast, but just not a lot of snow going on here. Some pretty cold air, though, starts to move south. The GFS has hinted at this for the last couple of days. Here's the high pressure nosing south into Canada. This is some true Arctic air starting to build in, and it pushes down into parts of Canada. So I think temperatures are going to drop heading into the late part of the weekend. This is where our storm track could get pretty interesting. Watch the prairies. More to come.